lies. No more lies. No more lies. No more lies.
Sharing with you the slightly darker side of all this, the slightly more personal side. And the title I chose was It Hurts to Know the Truth. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because it's something I struggle with quite a lot, and I'm sure there are you out there as well who struggle with this as well, with the same problem. Have you guys ever heard of the saying, ignorance is bliss?
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. What a worryless, effortless state of mind it must be to live in, knowing nothing of the horrors within the world. Knowing sad truths can be difficult, painful even, especially if it's something the general public doesn't know about or doesn't feel compelled to change. Can you guys hear me? Is it good? All right. Once you are thrust upon with a potentially horrible truth, you are automatically given a responsibility. Often we feel overwhelmed and deceived by the sheer size of it all. We feel helpless against its seemingly gigantic size, and we feel guilty for being so small, so previously ignorant, and so unable to stop it all in one swift movement. The fact that Monsanto is claiming ownership to part of our primary source of life besides water and spreading its corruption across the globe is one of these sad truths. I think this is one of the reasons why many people steer away from horrible truths, is because they don't want the responsibility or the burden of that knowledge. This is not the right mindset to be in when the world needs change.
Woo!
So why should you even give a damn? Why shouldn't you just go back to your ordinary, conveniently structured life? Well, I'll give you some reasons. Number one, there are others out there besides you and your family, many of which who are not so fortunate, and these people are greatly affected by Monsanto and they need help. Number two, as human beings on this earth, gifted with the ability of moral and complex thought, we have a responsibility to protect the earth. Unfortunately, the main thing we need to protect it from is our own kind. I think that's a bit twisted. It is important to realize that the earth is now, this is number three, it is important to realize that the earth is now ruled on a global scale. He who owns the water and the food owns the world. We rely on food and water for survival. And I know it sounds a bit over the top and nuts and crazy, but Monsanto is on the way to owning our food. All the organic food we harvest and process on land starts with one thing, and that is the seed. If they manage to become owners of even half the seed of the world, they will literally rule Earth. And unfortunately for us, this is not some ingenious and tragic plot unfolding in a sci-fi movie. This is reality. Okay, so now back to the suffering part. Researching and delving into these kinds of things, like the corruption of Monsanto, can make you depressed. Especially if you don't know anyone around you who is familiar with these kinds of things or has solutions. It's also very frustrating knowing all these things and then walking around in your daily life, seeing so many people who are unaware, or conversing with people who don't care. However, it need not be this way, guys. There are a surprising number of people out there, in fact an entire global community, who are dedicated to fighting these kinds of fights. You are not alone. There are global marches like this one. There's protests, there's pickets, there's online petitions, there's organizations and missions, all serving the purpose of protecting our beautiful earth from those who see it not as something to be cherished and cared for, but as a money-spewing piece of rock floating around in the universe. That sounded incredibly harsh, but good riddance. So now these seemingly negative emotions that you feel when getting involved with these things can be turned into a highly productive way of getting things done.
Woo!
For those who do feel slightly or majorly depressed because of intensive research into corrupt pharmaceutical companies or chemical companies, look at the emotion as a method in which to boost your desire for change. Get rid of those personal or negative feelings by helping, by doing your part, even if it's a little one. If it was all moonbeams and rainbows, you wouldn't want change. These feelings can push you forward and then later be converted into feelings of accomplishment, determination, and even happiness. The suffering associated with knowing horrible truths is necessary, but the reward is great. Unfortunately, there are those, and they are great in number, who are unaware of the way in which certain companies are abusing the planet. Even more unfortunately, there are those who do know, and yet choose to do nothing, and carry on supporting these corrupt companies simply because there's too much effort to change. Whether you're familiar with the corruption of Monsanto or not, I'm going to give you the definite, unsugar-coated truth. So if you guys would rather stay in ignorance, if there are any of you who'd rather stay in ignorance, please run away now, because after this you won't have a legitimate excuse.
Woo!
Anyone? No, good, I like you guys. Alright, so here it is. You guys ready? There are people out there who serve a God made of money and blood. Our world is being consumed by greed and the selfish desires of man. There are companies out there who benefit greatly from the sickness and misfortune of others. Companies who should not hold the power of the world in their hands. Companies like Monsanto who rely on the masses' ignorance and see the world as no more than a giant profit factory. I know it may seem like something small to some of you, but I assure you, claiming ownership to one of our primary means of survival is not a matter to be overlooked. They have no right to claim ownership to life, nor distort Mother Nature's free gift of seed.
Woo!
One more page! You're still alive! Now this is to Monsanto. Where's the camera? I want to look in your eye. So now, directly to Monsanto, if you're watching this, and I hope you are, you should be. Are you so blinded by greed that you cannot see what you're doing to our planet? You're corrupting genetics so carefully designed, sucking dry life so freely and lovingly given, upsetting the delicately entwined balance of the environmental system and deceiving thousands of people in the process. You make me sick and you're screwed up.
Woo!
Alright, there's my rant. Now in conclusion, it's up to you to decide what you'll do with this knowledge. I know some of you are thinking, wow, that's way over the top. This sounds like some kind of speech out of a Mad Max movie or something. But I'm telling you now, this is one of the biggest crises to ever hit the planet, and it's very real. It's up to you whether or not you'll suppress the truth and try very hard to get back into the blissful state of ignorance while the world crumbles around you, or use this painful truth to boost forward your desire for change. Whichever you choose, we'll be here. We'll be here, and until you wake up, we will fight for you. Thank you.
Woo!